Anyways, so we're gonna pick up where we left off on our Project Zomboid run, where we're doing 16x pop, multiple helicopters, all that kind of stuff. We have a broken machete on us. Get the hand axe out of here. Alright, what do we have for actual weapons? So we have food on us, a decent amount from the looks of it. I'll probably grab a little bit more just because we can. A whole bunch of knives. I need something. Hey, Insane Spark, how's it going? Yep, PZ day. Let's grab the garden hoe, and let's grab the shovels. Hey, the Greater Danish, how's it going? We've only had 10 redeemed so far today. We just started, so I think there's only been literally enough time for one redemption. Alright, let's grab some more carrots. And potatoes, and radishes. And a tomato. Our weight's fine for the moment. None of these are ready to be harvested. They're all watered. Cool. How's our little Jenny doing? Probably needs fuel, but I'm going to ignore for now. I'm doing good. Just getting started. Oh yeah, like Burn & Son's first redemption, like I went live and within like 15-20 seconds there was already redemption. Like, okay, I see how it is. I do not remember what our weather situation was or anything like that. And I mentioned a few times during the stream, so we did finish our RimWorld run on Sunday. And this past weekend, I kind of went and was like, hey, you know, and this is before the RimWorld run, and I was like, hey, you know, RimWorld's not doing particularly good on Twitch right now. Not my stream individually, but like Twitch at large, both total viewers and viewing hours of RimWorld has been just steadily going down. So it's been like, all right, it's time I put a pin in RimWorld, and you know, we pivot to something else. And then, you know, we'll probably circle back to RimWorld whenever their next big update comes out, because, you know, it'll be back up. Because I do love the game and all that, but, you know, growth of the channel, blah, blah, blah. Like, while you don't have to play something that's super popular or anything, you do want to avoid stuff that has very low viewership. It's like, you don't have to be playing the biggest game, but playing the smallest game is not particularly good for the channel. And not that RimWorld's the smallest, but it's getting pretty far down there. But anyways, so I do have a poll on the Discord, just a straw poll, that if people would like to vote, I've got a short list of games that is Path of Exile, Lost Ark, Elden Ring, and I believe Cities Skyline on there. There's also another option. If you have other suggestions, please drop them into the game suggestion channel on the Discord. The one thing I will say is my intention is not just to play more Project Zomboid. The whole reason I have other games is, one, I don't want to be stuck to being like a Project Zomboid streamer. Just the same as like any other game, I don't want to be a that game streamer, because then the health of your channel is almost directly tied to the health of that game on the platform, and no game will last forever. So it's much easier to pivot if, like, okay, one of your two games kind of goes out of favor, no problem. We just lean more on the whichever game is doing better, and push off whichever game's doing worse kind of thing to find a different game to fit in, that kind of deal. Plus, I find a lot of people like it if you actually mix up your content. I do know there's people here that are like, I'm here for game X, that's the only reason I'm here, and that's fine. But then also, as a streamer, I don't want to burn out. Because I've certainly seen many a streamer who was an X game streamer. They play it for like 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and then you can just tell they don't want to do it anymore. But because everything on their channel is to that one game, they kind of don't get a choice. Hey, Colo, how's it going? But yeah, so basically trying to decide what game will be replacing RimWorld for our Sunday and Monday streams. There is a good chance it'll be, it could be Elden Ring, because that's going to be dropping this Thursday, but probably too late. You're here for that sweet microphone. No, and I've had a lot. And there's actually, after stream yesterday, because I kind of was stressing a little bit because I didn't have time to plan what I was going to be playing. I had anticipated having, like, probably 3 more streams before RimWorld would have wrapped up. You know, barring I don't just die horribly. But usually when you die in RimWorld, it's not a complete death. It's they wipe out a little bit of your colony and you start a very slow downward spiral. And just with RimWorld, we're like, oh, well, like, we won apparently, just that fast. We went from not winning to winning. Yeah, the Greater Danish. That is, like, that is, and... Can we start panicking about World War III? Oh, you mean with the stuff going on in Ukraine? Burn and Sun, already redeeming the second set of push-ups. Probably don't bring up... We don't need to discuss the Ukraine thing going on here, but I don't think we're looking at a World War III situation there. I think we are looking at a very tense time, though. Anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and do my push-ups. I'll be right back. Okay. Awesome, Insane Spork. And I was saying before I got distracted with the global situation. I was saying, like, I had a few people reach out because, like I said, I hadn't planned on switching games this past weekend. Like, I thought I was being all proactive. I'm like, okay, I've got like at least another weekend before I'm switching games and all that. Let me go ahead and put feelers out, see what kind of games people would like to see me play, see what kind of games, you know. With those ones, like the other game Thursdays, like those days, I'm totally down to play like a game that's got like 10 viewers on Twitch, so long as it's a game I'm actually like, yeah, that'd be a fun game, I'm down. Like, that's fine. That's like the purpose of those days, is like for games that on the channel would probably be completely non-viable long term. But for like something that goes on the schedule as like a permanent thing, and when I say permanent, you know, mid to long term thing, you know, that's gotta make sense. Thank you. And that's honestly, the Greater Danish, you actually perfectly illustrate the reason why it's important for me to be mindful of what games I'm playing on the channel. Is there's 2 places I found you get most of your viewers, like for the first time showing up kind of thing. The first is they come through a raid, whether you raid someone and that person's like, oh yeah, that person's awesome, check him out. Or 2, you know, you get raided by someone. And usually when you get raided, it's someone who either A, knows you, but more often is playing the same game that you're playing. So that's important to be playing a game that actually has some level of viewership, otherwise there's not going to be someone else to raid you for that content. But, even more than that, most of your viewers do come through the game category page, where someone goes, I would like to see people playing Skyrim, or Project Zomboid, or Path of Exile, whatever they're interested in content-wise. And that's how they, like, organically find you. And as such, you have to have a certain amount of doing it. Yep, and I know a lot of streamers don't like talking about it, which I think is a disservice to both them and their communities. Because then it seems like, one, they're arbitrarily making decisions without consideration of the community. Like, I try and be very transparent, say, here's my thoughts, and perhaps I do that too early at times. But then it's also beneficial for people who are like, oh, I want to think about streaming, and I try to be candid. It's like, okay, well, if you want to grow, you have to be able to be on stream a lot. You have to be able to be on stream with a certain predictability. It is a habitual thing as viewers, and that's not a bad thing. It's, people entertain themselves at certain times of day and all that, and your schedule either does or does not align with it. And so if you're regularly unavailable, you don't have that viewer, which is fine. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so, yeah, that's on me. The stupid camera, I have to manually set the zoom every time it resets, and it's really frustrating, because if I just shift it over to be, like, a little over that way, you then see the other edge. I need to figure out a way to get stick, because I even got down to anywhere between 120% to 140% is perfect. That also helps so you're, like, looking more towards face and not, like, catching, like, my upper gut or whatever. Not that I have much of a gut going on, but you get the idea. Like, I'm up here. And then plus it cuts out more of the boom arm. I do need to get, like, green fabric for, like, the arm part at least. The mic, I don't think there's a clean way I can block off the mic where it won't be weird from, like, as you can see, if we were to look at my mic right now, like, right... Oh, that's interesting. Oh, of course. Yeah, it's, like, right over here where my chair is, where you're, like, looking down here. You'd notice, if I covered that up with green, part of my chair would just disappear. So there isn't a clean way I can deal with the main part of the mic, but the arm's fine because it's far enough over that way that if it does end up getting into camera, who cares? It won't get in front of the chair 99.9% of the time. It's very unlikely you'll see me walk in front of it where it matters without, like, the most you'd see is me walk past it, going off camera to do, like, the push-ups or whatever. And I have zero care if, like, momentarily part of my arm disappears or you see, like, an invisible line across me while I walk by. Yeah, I don't have a green dish towel. All I was going to do is I can just find, it's like a lime green color fabric. Like, I can just find fabric of that. I know how to sew. And I'll just make, like, effectively a tube with, like, either Velcro or snaps. And I'll just put it over the arm. I just need to get something that's the right color fabric that isn't the green screen behind me. Because I just don't have a lot of lime green cloth around the house for some reason. No, like, negative about it. And I'll read your comment here in just a moment, Mr. Wheatley. I know I haven't been playing Zomboid for 2 days because of other games, and so making sure I'm being careful. Oh, I need to check in before we get too far and make sure people are still down with the multiplayer today, because I do know a bunch of them were playing Lost Ark. And I do always say, hey, like, never feel obligated to play games just because it's on my schedule. Like, I can pivot that kind of stuff easy. But Mr. Wheatley says, died last night after spending 2 days in a house only to find out there was a zombie tucked away in this awkward corner next to a wardrobe who popped out and bit me. Yeah, my face when I had a secret zombie roommate for 2 days. Yeah, and the best, like, and if you're quiet, it'll just stay there because it has no reason to agitate. Let me double check this, make sure I know the status of what's going on for multiplayer in a little bit. And just confirming some real fast, I'll be right back at it. Okay, we will say multiplayer is tentative. Mr. Wheatley said, "I'm sure I would have been able to hear it if I wasn't paying attention. Got careless, got dead." That is the Project Zomboid way. Once you get past that first initial, I'm still learning how to not die, like to the zombie, like once you get to the point where I can run up to a zombie and not just get chewed up trying to fight them, or you know, small groups, then it's careless that gets you killed. Where you start feeling like, all right, we're in a good groove, things are good, I don't need to worry. Crunch. Oh, I needed to worry. I did weirdly on Monday. I had a couple different people hop in the stream. It's like, oh, I guess you don't play Project Zomboid anymore, and I kind of just went, I have on my schedule and have had it for like months. That, you know, there's 2 days a week I play, or 3 days a week I play not Project Zomboid. It was just kind of funny that like all at once I had so many people hop in the channel saying the same thing. It's like, that's weird that this kind of came up out of nowhere. PC is still my main game. I just want to keep it my main game for as long as I can versus going at it 7 days a week and being like, and burnt. Because I am someone, if I don't be mindful of that stuff, I will play a game until it has nothing left to offer me. And then just go, alright, next game. Like, my Steam achievements, you can tell the games I like because there'll be no achievements left in the game for me. Which is one of the things that, just with the way I play games and all that, it may come as a surprise that some of my favorite style of games are the Souls-like, or Soulsborns, whatever you want to call them. Like, every single Dark Souls title, I have every single achievement in the game, in multiple releases of the game. I have done all of the achievements in all of the Dark Souls games available on PC twice. Because I played with one group of friends where we went through and we did all the achievements, and then I played with my older brother where we went through and we did all the achievements. I think the only one that, like, I did not do a second time was there's one in, I think, Dark Souls 3 that you grind for rep. I'm like, okay, well, I already got it. Like, I can't get the achievement twice. Because, for the record, my Dark Souls 3 account got banned on Steam. Because I was like, I love this game, I want to do something different. Hey, there's an item, you know, an item randomizer mod. Let me try that out. I'll take it offline, I'll do all this stuff, like do everything I can possibly do to like separate it out. Like, I'm not going to be able to play online with other people. Like, I am being as careful as can be. Whatever I did, I messed up. I think like maybe my internet connection went live briefly during it or something, but it was enough that it got flagged, and then it was banned for years. Hey, how's it going, Xandor? It's going pretty well myself. We are just getting the party started. Killing zombies. Making big number bigger. big Namba better than smaller Namba? As we covered very much in Vampire Survivors the other day, people were like, "Oh yeah, the game performance improves if the numbers go away." I'm like, but big number. I have not enabled. I did see before stream that there was an unstable update, and I probably should turn it on. I didn't get a chance to look into it though. Like, I noticed it maybe 30 or 40 minutes before stream. Because if you look at the bottom screen, the About section, I made a lot of changes. And I didn't quite finish before I had to go live. As you can probably tell if you look at the PC specs where it says 64 gigs of RAM and doesn't specify the speed or brand or anything like that. It was just like, crap, I'm out of time. So, can anyone give me information about what's in this update? Is this the one where they were going to be revamping the foraging and all that stuff? I would definitely need to back up my save before I do that, because I do not want to run into problems between it. Like, part of me wants to wait till this runs. Yeah, the foraging changes probably happen. The water changes may have happened, which the foraging changes. Gotcha. I think in that case, if it's not a huge update, I might wait to do it until this run is over, better or worse. Because it is quite literally the unstable build. Which means, while there may not be demons, there may be demons. And I would hate to be, like, take a major setback because of, like, save file problems. As in, like, you're playing and something gets corrupted. Because I am really bad about backing up my saves in this game. Yeah, nah. They made raw fish dangerous, which is fine. Excuse me. Yep, and no more sushi. Or there was, I think you couldn't eat the fish raw, but I think maybe you were able to, cut up the fish and still eat it? I can't remember. Either way, it doesn't matter. Cooking is not a big deal. Like, that was, was it on Twitter, or was it on Reddit? There was, I was in a discussion about the water changes with someone, and someone was like, oh my god, this game is going to be unplayable, water is so difficult. I'm like, just find a lighter and matches. And, like, cut down one tree and you're solved. Like, it's a pretty easy thing to deal with. It does take inventory space. I will give people that. Like, if you're going super low strength build, yeah, you are now committing like an extra kilogram to just water. But if you're staying in the area, you just plop down a campfire when you show up, and that's enough. And honestly, like, there's very few places in the game where you can't find a grill just floating around. I never did check. Do the, I'm assuming the propane grills don't require a battery? Wait, this would be the 90s. This would be for when they were the click starters, not the battery operated ones we got nowadays. Because it was somewhere in the late 90s, early 2000s, a lot of grills, they started moving to electric starters as opposed to the click starters, because it's not a filament, but there's a thing that would wear out. Gotcha. Yeah, I know they talked about that. One new change I love is that you can pile logs with ripped sheets and no need to be the super rare rope anymore. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, that's good. I mean, especially since we can make, like, rope ladders out of sheets. Didn't we have a helicopter or something come through here that we had to back off from? As a random question for the people who watch streams, say like yesterday or when we're doing Vampire Slayers, like how good, bad, or otherwise is being open mic versus where I use push to talk normally? Like, was it significantly more disruptive so far as background noise, or was it basically a non-issue? And like be as candid and as brutally honest as possible, because I am curious if I should just be open micing. Non-issue. Because holding the push to talk a lot with my pinky probably is not a smart decision. Non-issue. Alright, we might I'm gonna open mic. So yeah, I'm just going to get in the habit of open micing. I might have to put filters on it. If you end up with a lot of background noise, that kind of thing that I need to start getting rid of, just let me know. Oh yeah, I actually had 2 or 3 times my wife came in during the stream yesterday while we had open mic. Like, she came in to like wish me good night and all that when she headed to bed, and all I did is like, I've got a button here I can just push to mute it. It's just a lot of times when I'm like focused on the game and she comes from like back here, because like 1, I have the green screen so I don't see her until she gets pretty close, and then 2, when you start getting like concentration mode like you do in Vampire Survivors, Project Zomboid, when you get in like an actual fight, that kind of stuff. I need to slow down or we're gonna flip. You know, I don't know if she's there for a while. And I did actually look up, buy her green screen color clothing, just have her have like one of the full body suits like they do when they're doing like movie scenes where they have the person who's got like the puppet arm for like, you know, moving the monster around on the scene or whatever, where they're wearing full green, the arm is all green. They have like the fencing mask and it's all green. How's it going, Pankraru? Yeah, and I do want to say thank you. We actually after stream I had a couple people reach out, because like as I mentioned, I had planned for RimWorld to go for probably like 3 more streams, give or take, just because of where I thought we were at in our run. And then our run just like, it ended that stream because we won. And I was just like, which kind of threw me entirely out of my groove for what we were doing for the weekend, because I had no plans ready. Yeah, we won. Like, it's like, oh, I can do my reset. I'll do my reset. And it's like, okay, there's no reset. Go get the MacGuffin. I'm like, all right, we're ready for war. Let's go to war for the MacGuffin. And I won't spoil the ending, but I was over-prepared, and the defenses stood no chance against me. Like, I don't even think we took a meaningful injury. Like, I think the animals got kind of roughed up pretty bad, but the rest of the colony just steamrolled the mechs. And it's just like, okay, so we're doing the thing, I'm ready, we're gonna do this whole battle, and it's like, the credits start rolling, and I'm going, huh? What credits? That's not how RimWorld works. You spend like 20, 30 solid minutes of warfare when you're trying to do the endings. That's how all the other endings go. You start the ship and it's like, hunker in, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. But yeah. So we won and I went, crap. You know, like, we still had some like an hour and a half or whatever till I normally wrap up stream, and like, okay, well, I'm not ready to wrap up stream, but I'll just miss, it's fine. But I'm nowhere near, like, I don't want to start into our RimWorld run, because if I do, I could be here forever. And I don't want to do like the throwaway runs that, you know, you play for an hour or 2 and then you lose because you put on like the maximum difficulty, naked brutality. Yep. So then I was like, what do I do? And so really quickly we pulled up Vampire Survivors and we played that, and that was a lot of fun. I'm really glad we did that. And we actually played that 2 nights in a row. The second night I played Path of Exile through, I think I got halfway into Act 5 on stream. And then I was like, okay, let's switch to some Vampire Survivors. And I guess to a lot of people it came across that I was like panicking that I didn't have the numbers I normally did for with Path of X I didn't have the numbers I did, so that they thought I was panicking going, there's no viewers. I was actually in pretty good headspace for all that, like that wasn't bothering me. I fully accept whenever I play a new game on stream, there's going to be some lag between starting a new game and having any kind of meaningful viewership for it. Because like you'll have some people who they're there to see you play whatever. They don't really care what game you're playing. Like they're into the vibe of the channel, they're into like your dialogue, chat engagement, that kind of stuff. And so like the game is just kind of what the conversation circles around, if it were. So a bunch of them showed up. But then there's the people, you know, they're there for RimWorld, they're there for Project Zomboid, they're there for a specific game, and if you're not playing it, that's fine. They'll find someone else playing it. Cool. Depending on the channel, there are definitely those channels that I'm like, I just dig this person's vibe, I will watch whatever content they produce, unless, like, for whatever reason, it's very, like, that specific game is, like, I actively don't have an interest in. Like, I want to be away from it, kind of not interested in, which is super rare. Otherwise, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You're playing Kenshi? Sure. You can make Kenshi entertaining. Gotcha. Yep. But yeah, and there's definitely those. And then there's people who are just looking for their content for their specific game. And I get it. There 100% there are channels that I'm like, the stream is fine, but I'm here for the Path of Exile. Like I'm here for the Project Zombie. Like your channel's like suitable and all that, but like the game is why I'm here. Like your thing on that with stream. And that's fine. And I won't be upset when people, you know, when I switch games and some people churn and all that. I get it. Like no one has an obligation to stick around. And I will catch up to you in just a second, Mr. Wheatley. Let me just deal with this horde and I'll take a peek. And the Mr. Wheatley says, off topic. Oh, here, I'm just going to pause. Off topic from what you are currently talking about, just noticed a bit of a pattern to the zombies on the road. Now I think about it, you should find large parking lot. Hey, Dark Moriarty, dropping in a giant raid. Give me a quick second, I'll get you a shout out. That is not Dark Moriarty I was typing in. Come on, all complete. Also playing Project Zomboid. Thanks so much for that raid. So, how was your stream? Thank you for the follow. Google's, Pisano? If I mispronounce that, please correct me. What was the stream? Oh yeah, and we have our, for those of you who are subscribers, you can drop in your Roll Storage Weeboos for the raid. Actually, this is the first time I've ever mentioned that. I have no idea what's going on with that. But yeah, so how was your stream? I see you're playing Project Zomboid, hopefully. Most of the deaths were the zombies, and if they were not, hopefully those deaths were at least fun and entertaining, and potentially you'd learn something. Because the only deaths that are not fun deaths, I mean truly not fun deaths in Project Zomboid, are the ones you walk away and go, I didn't learn anything and it wasn't a good time. Those are the true not fun deaths. At least the deaths, even if they're painful, that you learn something, you're going, well, I'm in a better situation for the next time I play. Dark Moriarty saying, doing good, doing good, doing good. Checking out new buildings in the 4.41.66. I was not aware there's new buildings. I only saw that there was an update like 30 to 40 minutes before stream, and as you can see, we're just about to hit 10 months in our current run, and we're at 44,000 zombies killed. And like, do I want to take my chance in this big challenge run with a unstable build? Especially since I'm actually pretty bad at backing up my saves in Project Zomboid. So, I haven't updated yet to the unstable build. I did hear good things. But, I've been hesitant to at least, you know, give a couple of the others a chance to play with it a little bit and let me know how things go. And if it isn't crashy, I will certainly switch, and usually it isn't. Project Zomboid does a pretty good job about not rolling out anything that is unstable. Like, properly unstable by what most people call it, not what they call unstable. Sorry. But yeah, so thank you everyone who's been tuning in. Lurking, chatting, following, subscribing, doing the Fits and Zones, host rate, and all that. I do appreciate it. And I do hope you enjoy the stream. I am Raw Storage. I do stream 7 days a week, 5 p.m. EST till roughly 4 a.m. EST. And if you do the math, that's about 11 hours. And sometimes we go long. On the rare occasion, like if we die a little early and it's like, it's too late in the stream to start another life. Like sometimes we wrap up early. Or if there's like stuff going on in offline world, sometimes responsibilities require me to, you know, do responsibility kind of things. But we play Project Zomboid 4 days a week, which would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Thursdays we have other game days where we'll play whatever game, regardless of how well it actually does in the stream. So far as like we did like Timberborn, absolutely fantastic, adorable game with post-apocalyptic beavers that are sentient. Adorable game, absolutely fantastic. Its viewership on Twitch does not exist. Like both days I played, I had more viewers than the entire rest of Twitch and Timberborn. And it was like 30 people. So, but that's other game days. And then Sundays and Mondays, we have like a secondary game we play on the channel, which has been RimWorld up until this last week. We finished an Arco Nexus run way earlier than I anticipated. And we are currently figuring out what we will be replacing that game with, because I do like trying to keep more one game on the channel. That way I'm not at the mercy of how one game is doing. So, if you're watching the stream and you end up going, hey, you know, this dude seems chill, I would like to see him play Quack. You know, by all means, hop in the Discord, drop it in the game suggestions. I'm all there. What happened there? Where do those zombies come from? Generally speaking, you have lots of migrations that happen. So what ends up happening is I'll clear a path. The zombies will end up being like right behind the trees. So when zombies are aggroed on you, they actually make quite a bit of noise. I have not been paying attention to my stamina, which is a mistake. Don't do that. But they do make quite a bit of noise, and like the more of them there are, the better they are at like getting the attention of other zombies by making noise. So sometimes when you get like a horde on you, there's a bunch of zombies you kind of missed behind you. That now that you have a bunch of zombies chasing you around, yelling and screaming and moaning and making all sorts of awful sounds. And then, you know, you bludgeoning their skulls in with a crowbar. Like, just all that racket draws those zombies in. So zombies do have a tendency of aggroing other zombies with all the noise they make. I mean, if you can find a game Quack, and it's got some kind of viewership on Twitch, like, it doesn't have to be even remote. So the thing I've been telling people is, for something to have a permanent part in the schedule, permanent being like mid to long term, it doesn't have to be like a super popular thing on Twitch. That's fine. It just needs to not be a super unpopular thing on Twitch, if that makes sense. Like, I'm down to stream something that's only got a couple thousand viewers. Cool. Like, it doesn't need the 60, 100,000 whatever garbage. It doesn't need to be the new fad or anything. It just can't be one of these games that's like, how many people are playing this, you know, viewing this on Twitch? 40. I'm like, that's not going to work for a permanent part of the schedule. That's what our other game days are for, though. We'll play those games knowing that's going to, like, we're going to have, like, no net new viewers from it because no one's looking for the game. But just jam, have a good time with the people who are in the channel. One of the things I had debated when I came to the Path of Exile, because we messed with that on Monday, was making a Quincy View friendship killer character. We didn't, though, because I didn't get enough time. Like, I was figuring I was going to have more time to plan, and I didn't, because our run just ended. I'm pretty sure we had a helicopter not too long ago. Yeah, plus also the truck is super loud. I wish I was paying attention to what time it was in game so that we weren't out here at night. But we're here now, so you know, that is what it is. The good news, as long as I don't back into a zombie, if things don't look up to my liking, I can just walk away. I'd be like, this party is not one I want to be a part of, and I am leaving. We're not there yet. Alright. And generally speaking, you almost always want to be backing up when you're hitting zombies, even if you feel super comfortable, because stuff can happen, like your weapon can break, and if you are stationary, your character will do like this big two-handed push where they like lock themselves in place to just really shove the zombie, but it locks you in place, so it can be a bad time. Alright, we're drowsy. That's not what you want. You also want to back up that way. If you just whiff the swing, you're already moving away from the zombie, because you can just step out of the way of attacks if you're fast enough. And that's one of the reasons why Nimble is so powerful, is because normally you have to kind of worry about that kind of stuff. When your Nimble's high enough, you just go, I'm moving fast enough. Like, I would show you if you don't... If we weren't drowsy and everything, I would show you where, once you get over, like, Nimble 2 and 3, you can literally just keep backtracking with Nimble, like stay in combat stance, and the zombies can physically never hurt you, as long as they're attacking from the direction you're walking away from. If they come from the sides or backs, you know, don't experiment, it'll be bad. It'll be, this is how you die. Alright, so we shove the zombie, we know there's more aggro. That's one of the tricks with short blades, is if you shove a zombie with a short blade, almost always, there's a few rare exceptions. Almost always, if you shove a zombie while using a short blade, it means you have another zombie aggroed on you. You will not execute a zombie, again, with very rare exceptions, if you have aggro on more than one zombie. And like the rare exceptions are stuff like, there's a tree between you and the zombie you've aggroed, that kind of thing. Let's see. Burn Sun says, Disney's Donald Duck going quackers. Close? I mean, sure. Gotasm says, the games without a ton of viewers but a large follower base are often sneaky beasts when it comes to viewership. At one point, 15 viewers would put you in the top 15. Oh yeah. No, and there's definitely like for example, I got into Project Zomboid before it had really picked up again. Thank you for the follow, Ghostasm. Like, for me, I got into Project Zomboid on stream. I think my first stream of Project Zomboid was in July? And it was one of the regular ones that would show up on the channel kind of thing. But, and I'd go, like, at that point, like, RimWorld was my big thing so far as viewership on the channel. But I was like, hey, I'm having fun. And, you know, it's not no viewership. And you'll notice I am using a rotten cabbage as part of my food. It's fine, don't worry about it. Once you pass cooking 8, rotten doesn't mean anything other than the food isn't as nutritious or hunger satiating. It's just okay. But yeah. So it is true that viewership is not everything. Like, for example, if we knew that there was a update coming out for RimWorld in, like, let's say August or July or something like that, it could still be strategically advantageous to play a bunch of RimWorld, build up a viewership within the community in preparation for things going up. Now again, I was playing Project Zomboid before we had confirmation that the multiplayer update was coming even remotely soon. Like, a lot of us were still talking about being maybe years off, that kind of thing, because they kept talking about delays and whatever. And so it's like, hey, I'm just playing this because it's a fun game. And it ended up being the thing that pushed our channel into affiliate even. And again, before the update became announced, like, Trustin was just playing and just, you know, out of nowhere. Like, I had never seen Trustin before. I'm sure he had never seen my channel before. But he dropped a raid on us, which was enough to, like, push us over that last step to get affiliate. And then from there, it was just, like, kept building up the audience. And then, you know, they did the big announcement, so kind of happy timing where I was already getting established in the community. And then, you know, Project Zomboid started blowing up because multiplayer was coming, and then multiplayer dropped, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into strategy more than just raw viewership. Because it can also be like, if you are pulling in a healthy number of viewers on a game that is not necessarily popular anymore, or a good normal viewership thing, but for your channel is doing well, keep doing it. For me, that was part of the motivation with RimWorld, is I was noticing even within my channel as well as on the platform at large, I was watching the number of people watching on the days that we were doing RimWorld getting smaller and smaller. And part of that is probably because it's an Arco Nexus run, and those runs take for absolutely ever, and so people who had gotten invested early on but missed a whole bunch of it, you know, or had difficulty playing catch-up because there was just so much content to catch up on, that they became divested in it, which is fine. Oh yeah, Colo. Like, and that's one of the things, and why, like, Project Zomboid is going to stay around for a while. Like, it is the main game on the channel, and I absolutely having a blast with it. Like, RimWorld is also having a lot of fun with it, too. So, I'm absolutely not against bringing it back next time an update's coming or whatever. Or if we're just like, hey, you know, the other game we switched in for RimWorld, you know, maybe wasn't a hit. Like, whatever. Push-ups. And we joked that it is not competition, but if it was a competition, I would be winning. Yes, I generally stream most days for about 11 hours. I go from 5 p.m. EST till about 4 a.m. EST. It's not always that long. There are definitely times where it's like, oh, skills, I can show skills. I forgot about the hydrate, sorry. Let me get the hydrate, and there was also a stretch, so what I'll do is I will pause this. Anytime someone goes and redeems, I'll just go through without the explanation, so it'll go much faster. Anyways, we were asked to show our skills, and since we have a slow ride home because it's dark and we have too many bodies in the road, so we can't go fast, we have gotten ourselves up, and I should explain that this skill build, when we started this character, we had 0 strength, 0 fitness, 0 combat skills. This whole thing was empty because I take weak, obese, unfit, and slow healing. We have since corrected all but slow healing because you can't correct slow healing. But, so we are at fitness 6. We're getting pretty good ways towards 7, about little over 2/3 of the way. Strength 7, of which, again, we're getting pretty close to 2/3 of the way. Yep, 0 to hero run with maximum zombie pop. No respawns. We did hit Nimble 5 last stream, so we've basically made no measurable progress. We are not up to 50k yet. We're at 44k, I believe. Our combat skills are all coming along well. They're all at about 7, with maintenance coming at 8, and shortblade just about to hit 8. We have hit max carpentry, cooking, and tailoring, and farming is probably one more harvest away from max farming. Our maintenance, our mechanic, and metalworking skills are at 5. That's because I've been using them to basically get this truck up and running and keeping it going smooth. And electrical has 4, just because I saw telephone boost take it apart. After 3, it's pretty irrelevant. And honestly, for this character, after 2 it was pretty relevant because we're not using electric stove. Our aiming and reloading are at 5 and 4 respectively. Give me one moment. Sorry. I was making, like, snarfle thing. Alright, Darkstar, you have yourself a good walk with the doggo. But, we did at about 2,000 zombies, or month 2, not 2,000 zombies, go on a shotgun rampage and a couple of rampages with pistols. It's maybe about 1,000 kills worth of zombie kills. So, if you don't want to count those gun kills on our count, it would be about 43,000 that we've killed with melee. Our fishing and our foraging are now at 4 because we've actually begun to work on our survivalist skills a little bit. Just a little bit. So we're getting there. I think we're past the bodies at this point. And the reason we're driving so slow over bodies is not because the bodies directly damage your car. Driving over them doesn't hurt your tires, it doesn't hurt your suspension. I had people tell me it did, people tell me it didn't. Both were sources I would trust, but clearly one had to be right, one had to be wrong. So that is what it is. So we did some testing where I just drove over a whole bunch of bodies at different speeds and kind of checked to see what damage our car took, and it took absolutely no damage whatsoever, not a single %. So we're like, alright, yeah, bodies of dead zombies don't hurt your car. Now, bodies of live zombies absolutely ruin your car. So, you know, if you're going to weaponize your car, just know you're going to not have a car very long. That said, however, if you drive over dead bodies really fast, or if they're particularly large piles, you can flip your car, you can ramp your car. Basically, you can get yourself into a lot of situations where you'll potentially lose control of your car and slam into trees and all sorts of awful things. So, while the zombies don't directly damage your car driving over them, be mindful about how fast you go across bodies, just for the sake of not putting yourself into a tree or whatever. And I 100% launched a car into the air before, and surprisingly damaged the back of the car in that situation because we launched it, the car turned up on its side and flipped around, and then landed back on its wheels, and then we had a lot of speed going backwards, and we slammed into a tree back first. I don't remember what run that was. We were in Riverside, and it wasn't one of our 16x pop runs either. Dark Moriarty, them pesky living zombies, contradiction in terms. Rooted them to dent my car when I'm doing nothing to avoid them. Honestly, when it comes to this run, we have killed ourselves almost every zombie. We're at somewhere in the ballpark of maybe 20 zombies we have accidentally killed because, we try and swerve around them and we don't quite get around them, or they'll be in the middle of the road in the dark and I won't see them in time to stop. We had at one point this big van that was really nice, except for its brakes, which might have well not existed, so it took us 12 car lengths to bring the stupid van to a stop going 45, 50 miles an hour. So we hit a lot of zombies with that van, and a couple of them got killed by it. But yeah, and we haven't done burns, we don't do burns, we haven't done pipe bombs or anything like that. And we used guns only a teeny tiny bit just because I was I have too much ammo and I want to be rid of it. Not that drive, I want this one. So pretty soon the hope is that we get into Riverside itself and then I don't have to do this trek each day. Because that's the toughest part of these runs so far, as making progress, is when you haven't got your foothold in a new town, where you have to run back and forth constantly, you lose a lot of time to just the trip back and forth. But it's fine, we'll get there. Oh yeah, I should do a base tour.